Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a first impressions video. So if you saw my last video, it was a Sephora haul, and obviously I said in that video that I was not going to spend any more money at Sephora, but then I was just having a treat yourself mood at Sephora. So the reason for that is because I just reached 1,000 subscribers. So for all of you that subscribed, I wanted to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you. It means so much to me. I am just so happy that you're here and that you're subscribed and that you're watching my content. Please let me know in the comments down below if there's anything that you'd like to see. I am working on several videos to have for you guys soon, but if there's anything in particular that you would love to see, I'd love to hear your feedback. But I just love and appreciate every single one of you, and I'm so happy that I can be making videos for you. So I wanted to say thank you, and because I hit that milestone of hitting 1,000 subscribers, I was in a treat yourself mood in Sephora and picked up a few things that I was really interested to try. The first one is the Lawless The One Palette, which I've just totally had my eye on ever since Annie Lawless kind of announced this, and I had finally saw it in person. This was my first time seeing it in person, and it was just even more beautiful than I dreamed, so it had to be picked up. And then the next thing was the Cover FX Power of Play Foundation, and if you guys follow Lauren Bushnell, I think is how you say her last name, from The Bachelor or Bachelorette, whatever, I follow her, and she showed that she's been using this foundation, and her skin always looks flawless, so I've just been really wanting to pick this up ever since I saw that. I'm not necessarily like a huge fangirl for her, I just like noticed that her skin always looks really beautiful. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid this glare, this is not good. Anyway, hopefully it's not doing that the whole video, but I really want to pick this up. I also really am into Cover FX because this brand is supposed to be really gentle on your skin and not cause any like irritation or breakouts, and I have very like red acne prone skin because I'm so fair, like any kind of irritation shows up, so I'm really hoping that this works for me. And then also I picked up the Tatcha The Silk Canvas. I had no idea that this came in a travel size, so this got my attention in the aisle of doom at Sephora, so it had to be picked up. So if you want to see how I got this makeup look right here and my impressions of these three products, then please keep watching. I'm really excited to try out this Lawless The One palette. This is just absolutely freaking beautiful. Like, hopefully this mirror doesn't blind you, but like the colors in this palette are all just perfect, and all these orangey warm tones and pinky tones are just like exactly all the shades that I love to wear on my blue eyes. And I just love this brand. I love Annie Lawless. I just love that everything is talc free and paraben free and healthy and good for you, and just like all clean ingredients, but still gives you that like full coverage dramatic look. Like, this isn't just like what you'd expect to see from a like clean beauty brand. This is like very dramatic and beautiful. Looks like, you know, a Huda Beauty palette or Natasha Denona palette or one of those, like just super glam and gorgeous. So I'm really excited to try out these shades, and the problem I'm gonna have is I want to use all of them, and that just won't look good all together, so I'm gonna have to limit myself today. But I'm gonna start out with this first base shade just because I always set my eye primer with something like that. So I'm taking this on my Sigma E40, and I did just prime my lids with some of my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, which is kind of my go-to eyeshadow primer. And this is a really nice, perfect, just nudie color. First impressions is it's very pretty pigmented, it looks really nice, and this is just giving me a nice base so far. Okay, now I want to kind of build up my crease, and I'm just really excited about this yellow because I think yellow will be a really flattering shade to kind of blend in the crease, but I think I'm going to start out with this Everything shade and do that first, and then kind of add in a little bit of that yellow later. So just grabbing a little bit of everything on this same Sigma E40 brush, and I'm kind of just starting out with a little bit just because I don't know how pigmented this palette is going to be, and you can always add more, but you can't take it away, just like cooking or baking. So I'm just kind of starting out slow and building up the crease. Now that I have a little bit of everything all through the crease, I'm going to grab that yellowy shade Butterflies, and I'm just so excited to try this. I'm like kind of scared of what a yellow is going to do, but kind of excited all at the same time. I think it's just going to warm it up. And it's gorgeous, nothing too crazy. So I'm just still using that same E40 brush. And so far, my first impression of this Butterflies shade is these other two had a lot of kind of like fallout and were really powdery, and this one it's like a little harder to pick up the pigment. But I mean, I can't imagine that I'd want like a super strong yellowy like hardcore pigment, so I'm okay with it. Now to kind of deepen everything up, I'm just really tempted to go in with this orangey shade called Feels, just because, or Next Level, just because I love like an orangey eye. But since I'm kind of going with this yellow thing, theme, I'm going to take this shade Complicated right here next to it, which is a dark brown. And I'm using this on my Persona eyeshadow brush, which I absolutely love. This is like the softest blending brush ever. And I kind of like forgot about it for a second, and I was back using my Sigma E25, which I would typically use for this kind of like outer corner darker color, but this brush is just so soft and amazing. I'm so glad I remembered to use it. So I kind of built up that Complicated shade in my outer like third of my eye out here and in my outer crease, and then I'm going to go in with the shade DTR, which is like an even darker and a little bit more cool toned brown, and do the same thing, just kind of build up that outer corner. This is like a really aggressively dramatic look for the daytime. I'm filming this on a Sunday and I'm not doing anything today. I'm literally home in my cozy sweatshirt, but I was just so excited for this palette. Like, I had to play with it right away. I just can't wait a second longer. I literally brought it home and ate lunch and was like, okay, we gotta do our makeup today. Because before I was planning on just like not doing my makeup today, because on the weekends a lot of times I feel like just not even wearing any makeup, but now that I have this palette, I'm like, okay, dramatic smoky eye every day from here on out. Can't wait. Now that I kind of have all those darker colors on, I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of that Butterflies yellowy shade, and I'm trying to pick up pigment, and this is the only color so far that is just really not giving me a whole lot, but I kind of like that because now I can blend this out really easily and not have like too much pigment on top, just a little something to kind of blend out all these darker colors, and it really does kind of bring warmth. I really like these yellowy orangey tones. These are super flattering if you have like blue or like green eyes, but really any color eyes I think this would look super beautiful on, but it's the contrasting colors just really go nice with like blue eyes. Okay, now for these shimmers. Oh my god, which ones am I going to use? So for today, because I don't want to do like too crazy, I think I'm just going to use these two right here, which is Casual and Crushing. So, or maybe I'll use Crushing and Fling. Okay, and then we'll use Casual to highlight. Okay, that sounds like a good compromise. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with Crushing, which is this lighter one right here, and I'm looking for a brush for this. Let me grab one. So I'm gonna take this dense Sigma E55 brush here and pick up some of this Crushing shade. Oh yeah, this is super beautiful. So I'm essentially packing on this shimmery shade everywhere where I don't have the darker shade. So all the way starting on this inner corner and then going all the way for like basically 2/3 of my eye until I hit those darky brown shadows. And then once I have a little bit of that one on, I'm going to take this Fling, this really dramatic goldy shade, and pick it up with the same brush. But instead of holding it this way, I'm going to hold it this way and just go right in the middle here, just so it kind of creates a gradient effect from light to a little bit darker gold. Hopefully this is picking up on camera how it's kind of going from a gradient from light to this darker gold, but they're super shimmery and super pigmented. And now that the shimmers are on, I'm going to go back on with my fluffy brush and just kind of blend because I don't want any like harsh edges where the shimmer is meeting the dark shades. And then I'm also going to go back in with my little dense shader brush and take more of Complicated and DTR just to kind of deepen this back up in case any of the shimmer kind of got on top of where we have our dark shades. Okay, now that everything's pretty much like blended, I'm absolutely obsessed with this palette, and I am just dying to do a purple like smoky look with these 4 shades right here. This is just like incredible so far. Like I said, all of these shades that I've used today, I've used what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these shades, and they've all been super pigmented. The Butterflies one is the only one that isn't really like getting a lot of pan fallout and not like picking up too much pigment. But other than that, they're all super pigmented and super beautiful, and I'm super impressed, and I just really like the look so far. So I'm going to keep going, finish my eye makeup, and then kind of show you the first impressions of the other products that I'm trying out. Moving on to face makeup, the next product that I have to do a first impressions of is the Tatcha The Silk Canvas, and I've been dying to try this primer for a long time. And then I was in Sephora today, you know, in the treat yourself mood, and I noticed they had this little tiny guy in like the sample size in the, like, you know, the aisle of doom at Sephora where you're walking through. And this is perfect because I find that I rarely kind of love a primer enough to use up a full size one, and a lot of times I just end up like not agreeing with them, and then like they just kind of go to waste. Plus I feel like primer is really important because it like is the first thing that touches your skin and really can like make the difference and really clog your pores and have like a big effect on your skin. So the first thing I'm noticing when I unpackage it is this one doesn't come with a little like scoopy sanitary stick to get it out with. I know the full size one does, I believe, but like look how beautiful this is. Like I don't even know what to do. It says to take a rice grain amount on face with fingertips and massage into skin. So, and this says it's suitable for face, eyes, and lips. I'm just gonna use it on the face since I've already done the eyes and I have lip balm on. But like, I'm gonna have to dig into this with my nail. I hate this. Okay. Oh God, okay. So it's a lot softer than I thought it was gonna be. And I think that's about rice grain amount. That really seems like not enough. But I'm just going to keep it concentrated on my T-zone, which is where I have like the largest pores and the most oil. And like if that's a sufficient amount, this little travel size, which was $20, is gonna like last a super long time. Plus I just kind of like to buy these smaller size products if I ever do travel. And it's like really hard to kind of go through full size products of like a lot of things because I always want to try something new, and if I have a full size one, it's just I feel guilty like, oh, you have another full size primer you haven't used, why would you buy another one? But the little sample size guys are just incredible. So first impressions is it went on really smooth. It didn't kind of pill up like I was expecting. A lot of like silicone based primers kind of tend to pill up on my skin, and I did already have a tinted SPF and like a serum on from earlier in the day when I was just out with no makeup on, so I was kind of expecting it to react poorly to those, but it didn't. I don't know that it did anything crazy though. It did kind of look like it slightly like kind of, you know, wiped the oil off of my face in those areas. I don't know if it's done anything magical, but we'll see how the foundation applies on top of it. Okay, and now for foundation, I'm really pumped to try this. This is the Cover FX Power Play foundation, and I got mine in the shade G20, which I was not expecting to be my shade. Honestly, it's really hard to color match your foundations online, and Sephora has that great tool now where you can kind of color match based on what color you are in like another foundation. So I always kind of put in my two favorite color match foundations and then see what it spits out. And like I tried that with this foundation, and it gave me basically, I tried my two closest match foundations that I love, which is a Giorgio Armani one and a Tarte one, and it spit out like the lightest shade and like a medium tone shade when I tried each of those. So that wasn't right. Anyway, I ended up color matching to G20. This is not important, no one cares, but anyway, hopefully this is a good color match. We'll see. I also had someone in there help me, and well, I don't know. The one thing I will say about this is the packaging is like super small, and I was like, okay, this looks tiny. Like this looks like a concealer, honestly. It's so small, and I was like, is this even as big as a regular foundation? And all other foundations are 1 fluid ounce, and this is 1.18 fluid ounces. So this is actually bigger than most packaging, so I don't know why it's so deceptively tiny, but here we are. So I'm going to, oops, I should have shook this up a little bit. Okay, we'll shake it a little bit just to make sure, and I'm gonna be applying this with my damp beauty blender just because that's my favorite way to apply foundation. And I'll quickly read you what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a long-wearing liquid foundation formulated with innovative pigments, blah, 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 buildable, medium to full coverage, and a breathable, weightless finish. So hopefully this is just, you know, the best foundation ever. We'll see. Okay, this color match actually looks good, so thank goodness. I'm really blending this into my skin, and it looks super beautiful. I really think this color match is okay, and it is, I would say, a medium to full coverage. You can definitely kind of build it up to get a little more coverage, but straight out of the tube, I would say it gives a nice like medium coverage. And I'm not really gonna pack on like a whole extra layer just because I feel like I don't really need to go that heavy today. But I kind of like how it's finishing. It doesn't feel too like sticky and tacky, but it's not drying down matte and chalky. It's kind of like that nice perfect medium, which honestly is ideal for my skin because I have oily skin, but I don't like it to dry down matte, and I don't like it to like stay too tacky and greasy. I kind of like this in between semi-matte satin kind of finish, and I think this looks beautiful. Okay, so that's it for the foundation. So far, my first impressions of this are that I love it. The primer, it's kind of hard to tell on first try with a new foundation, like what I think of it. I was just super excited about it, so I had to try it in this video. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup and then let you know my first impressions of all three products. So the rest of my face makeup is done, but I wanted to go back in and do the highlight in the inner corners for my eyes. So I'm gonna take this shade Casual here on my dense little shader brush and highlight my inner corner, and this is like a nice pop of a nice champagne shimmer there. And then I'm also going to take this same shade and just highlight a little bit under my brow bone. Okay, that's absolutely beautiful, and I've been kind of debating because I'm more of a like leave the under eye blank kind of girl, so I wanted to show you guys the look here because these eyeshadows are just absolutely beautiful. You know me, I love like an easy warm toned smoky eye, and I'm obviously not the guru to go for if you want like smoky eye blending techniques and all that, but I just wanted to show you guys my thoughts on the palette. But I think I am going to smoke out my lower lash line just to kind of deepen it up and kind of show you guys a little bit more how the eyeshadows look. But I also just wanted to mention I did my eyeshadow first before my foundation because that's just the best way to do it in case there's any shadow fallout. And while all of these kind of did have a lot of fallout in the pan, they didn't really have a whole lot of fallout on my face, so I was really impressed with that. And for the foundation, I also really like how all the powders have applied on top of it. I think my skin looks very luminous, but not like too greasy. It's not too mattified. It's kind of just a really nice natural finish on the skin. And if you're curious about what other makeup products I used, I'll list everything that I used down below so that you kind of have an idea. But I did set with my favorite MAC Mineralize Skinfinish, which is just my holy grail powder. So I like to use that on days when I'm trying out a new foundation because then I can really get a feel for the foundation because I just know how this powder is and I just love how it looks. I also used my Tarte Shape Tape under the eyes, and I have, when I've been using it, been also highlighting here down my nose and on the chin, but I didn't do that today because I kind of wanted to get a better feel for the foundation, and I think it's super beautiful. So let's go ahead and add those shadows to the lower lash line. Okay, first off, I'm just going to take It's Complicated and DTR on a little pencil brush here and blend those under the eye. I have those two brownie shades kind of blended underneath my eye with the pencil brush, and just kind of go outside my comfort zone and really deepen the look up. I really want to try this black shade in the palette because a good black really can kind of make or break an eyeshadow palette. So I'm going to take this on my Sigma small angle brush. This is the E65, and I just like using a brush like this because it's like really precise, and I don't want to get like too dark and like black too fast because I don't really want that like eyeliner look. So I'm just going to kind of keep this on the outer half of my eye, and don't worry, I'm going to go back with my pencil brush and blend on top of this again. But oh my gosh, this black is really pigmented. This is super nice. And now that I kind of have that black laid down underneath my eyes, I'm going to go back in with my little pencil brush, and I'm going to actually pick up this yellow shade, that Butterflies shade, and maybe a little bit more of It's Complicated, and just go right on top and kind of blend it out. It's kind of nice to use all the shades that you used on your upper lid, on the lower lash line. That kind of helps bring it together. So that's why I'm using so many different ones, because I think it really helps kind of blend it together, and then you don't look like you just have some like random dark eyeliner under your eye, which is how it can really turn out sometimes. I went ahead and added some bottom lash mascara, and now this is the finished makeup look. Now only if my hair was curled and looking good today, I'd have like a full glam look going and I wasn't wearing a fluffy hoodie. But I really like how this makeup look turned out, and I kind of wanted to let you guys know my final first impressions of these three products. And first of all, this Lawless The One Palette. This was very expensive. I believe it was $64, but you get quite a few different shades in here, and the pigmentation on pretty much all the ones I tried was incredible. So I'm really impressed with this. I'm glad I picked it up. I really like supporting this brand. I love like clean beauty brands. So I'm really excited about this product. I'm really pumped to try these purple shades. That's gonna have to be my next tutorial for sure, because I always kind of do this warm bronzy eye, and it always kind of comes out the same on me because I don't like, you know, have some elaborate artistry, you know, techniques that I use. I just kind of do the same thing. But I really love these colors. I love the pigmentation. These are all the colors that I love using on my personal eye color. So I'm really pumped about this. Also, the packaging just feels really quality. There's a nice big mirror. It feels just really weighty and nice. Probably not like the best for travel because it's so like large, like any other large eyeshadow palette, but you really do get a lot of like versatile looks out of this. So personally, I would travel with this because I'm extra, and I like would bring this if I was going somewhere where I have like nighttime events. Anyway, I think this is worth it, and I really like it so far. And then next up was the Tatcha the Silk Canvas Primer. Obviously, it's really hard to tell how a primer is when you're trying out a new foundation as well, but I did kind of like how this applied. I was like pleasantly surprised with the texture, and I thought that it was gonna like feel a lot heavier on my skin. And I'm excited to keep trying this. I think this is a good buy. This was $20 and it's tiny. Like this is the size of like a tiny lip balm, I would say. But like I said, I rarely go through an entire like either primer or foundation or concealer before it's kind of past its date. So this small size I think is like a really good buy if you're like really curious to try this, or if you really want a new primer but you don't want to splurge for like a huge like $40 full-sized one. But I can't report back on how my skin agreed with it, but so far it feels really nice. And then this Cover FX Power Play foundation. I knew that I was gonna like this. I wasn't expecting it to be like as wonderful as it is. I'm really happy with the color match that I got, which I believe was G20, yes. And I'm really happy with the coverage and how like it's looking on my skin. I also really liked how powders blended on top of this foundation. So far, super impressed with this. Again, I won't really know how well my skin reacted to this until later, but I wanted to thank you guys for watching, and I wanted to ask you guys, let me know in the comments down below if you like this kind of first impression style video. Personally, I love doing like a full dedicated foundation review where I apply it in the morning and then I show you kind of throughout the day how it's wearing. So if you want to see like a more detailed wear test or something of any of these products, then let me know down below, or if you want to see that of any other product that you're curious about, I'd love to show you guys what you want to see. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this first impressions video though. I was just super excited about all these new products and like wanted to try them right away, and I was like really excited to show you guys how they worked because these are all kind of things that I've had my eye on for a little bit. As always, I'm uploading 2 days a week on Monday and Thursday, so please subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss my next video, and thank you so much for watching.